Yeah, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of From My Experience podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. We have a special guest today. I'm gonna introduce him in a minute, but it has been a wild roller coaster. And in case I have an idea of when I'm gonna post it, so in case I didn't say it in the previous podcast that you listened to by the time you hear this, my bad. We did miss a week. And if you listen to that episode, you will hear the crazy story of why we missed a week and scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. But we back, and like I said, we're gonna ramp back up on these interviews because y'all know I do like 50 of them things a year. So we back at it with another one. But as far as life is good. Still going down the same path. Out here looking for new opportunities. Still working with Pastor P's app. Go ahead and make sure you check out Pastor P's app in the description and follow Pastor P's app on Instagram. All those links are there. Make sure you following us FME_podcast. Make sure you're following us for sure. So I'm actually excited about this one, and I know a lot of people out there will be excited once they see the title of this one because marijuana or cannabis is a very, very, very hot topic, y'all. Very hot topic. It's becoming legalized. Some people are getting let out of prison for it. A lot of people smoke it recreationally. People use it in their food. It's everywhere and it's all over the place. But there's a lot of misinformation out there as well. And I don't dabble myself. But if I did, I would want to talk to someone or, someone trusted who knows what they're doing, who can really explain and break things down for me because there's just a lot that goes into it. So, now I will get to our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, let me play the guest music. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know I have a lot of people from Claflin University on here, my prestigious university that I graduated from, and Claflin just produces amazing people, man. And we got another one today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have fellow Claflin alum and laboratory director at a cannabis testing lab, Mr. Francis Jordan. Where's my hand clap? I can't find my hand clap. Oh, there we go. Woo! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I am doing good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing well. Thank you again for just joining me on From My Experience podcast and just being willing to share your experience. I think this is actually a very important episode, for all the reasons I just mentioned before. But also, I love facts, and I love when people actually work in an industry and they're not just on the internet. I see so many ads and all this stuff, and it's like, bro, I don't know you. I don't know where you got this stuff from. Like, you ain't got no credentials. So it's just like, all right, you got to be careful when it comes to this stuff. But so we're going to get right into it. And I have a tough question for you to start off with. Maybe not tough for you, but who is Francis Jordan?
Francis Jordan. Let's see. He is a 2011 graduate of the illustrious Claflin University. He is the laboratory director at a cannabis testing lab here in Louisiana. He's been in the industry for 8 years now. He has a daughter, a 4-year-old. She turns 5 in August. A little bit about myself. Member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and the 100 Black Men of Baton Rouge. So,
Wow.
Just a little bit about myself.
Accomplished.
Yes.
Oh, I got a sidebar question for you, but I'll ask you that off the pod. Because I know you've been seeing what I've been seeing with what's going on in Greek life off the pod. Yeah. I'm like, don't send me no more links, y'all. I'll be telling people, don't send me no more links. Let them people do what they gonna do. So you mentioned Claflin. I want to start there. What are some highlights of your time at Claflin?
Good times. One, the honors college, and then pledging, and then just it's like a second family.
Yeah,
it's like I wouldn't trade those years for anything. Good times at Claflin. Good times.
Yep. Did you step?
did. I did. We unseated the alphas after a few years.
I saw that. I think that's the one I saw. Thank you for that, because we had a hard time doing it. I think we did it once while I was there. We was always getting second.
We had to humble them. So
things are different now, though. Things are definitely different now. We got people from other schools stepping, because I don't know what I'm like. Y'all just want to be fashionable and cool out here. Why we not stepping?
Right.
Another sidebar conversation, because that irks my nerves, because I'm like, yo, y'all got the numbers. We was struggling. Like, we was having lines of 5 and 6, and we got like 7 people who maybe want to step or something like that. Y'all got like 15, 20. Nah, we ain't step. What you mean? But oh my gosh. Okay. Let me not even go there. Let me not go there. Okay. Cool. So, into the cannabis life. So, have you always been interested in cannabis before we get to like your professional dabbling?
Actually, no. I was always against it because growing up, it's a drug. Stay away from it. All this other stuff. So, yeah, I never did it. Was always like people that smoke weed. I looked at them sideways, like what are you doing? And look at me now.
So interesting. I grew up the same way. I did see weed usage. A lot of my friends smoked weed. I knew people. Never mind. I knew people who were unofficially in the industry. So I kind of had like the same sentiment. I experimented when I was younger, but one thing about me, I like to be able to function fully. And like if I drink or if I smoke, I know I'm not going to do anything crazy, but I know that I'm not like 100% myself, and I like to be in control. So like I'm like, this ain't something I want to do every day. Some people did it every day, and I'm like, I don't know how you function like that. Like I tend to go to sleep, or I just get tired, or I just want to gain 10 pounds from eating. So yeah. But I know as I got older, people started talking about strands and all kind of stuff like that, and I'm like, whoa, you lost me. I was like, I don't even know the basics, because usually if I ever did it, which was very rare occasions, someone already had it rolled up and it was like, yo, here you go. And that was it. I was never out here buying it, rolling it, breaking it. I was never doing none of that stuff. So I'm a rookie when it comes to that stuff. Probably whatever's before a rookie is me. So now, let's get to your interesting story. How'd you end up working in the cannabis industry?
So I was looking for a job, and back then you had to go everywhere. So I went to Craigslist, and it was a job. It was a job for an analytical chemist. So I was like, you know what? Let me apply. I get a call like 2 days later, and it's from the lab director, and she was like, "Hey, just want you to know, this is at a cannabis lab. So are you still interested?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" I interviewed, got the job, and I went. And that's how my industry. That's how I got into the industry. That's how it started.
So for those of y'all, I don't even know if Craigslist is still around. Basically, Craigslist, y'all, is what, dang, I'm still going to sound old. It's basically what Facebook Marketplace is. Like, you could pick a state and a city, and if people were selling an item, or if they had advertisements, it was just all on there, and you would just click it and follow the information. I mean, I think it ran parallel with eBay. I don't know which one came first, but it was kind of like, it was just a marketplace like that, man. And now look, this guy is this guy found a career path. Okay. What is your career path look like thus far?
So I'm on the testing side of cannabis, of cannabis. So I actually, like I said, my background is my degree is in biochem.
Mm-hmm.
So my background is actually as a chemist. So I've worked my way up from the chemist up to the lab director. And so the lab director oversees the lab, the day-to-day operations of the lab. So like my day consists of reviewing data, training chemists, managing chemists, doing budgets, reports, things like that, like senior level things. So it's like upper management.
You running the place. It's all right. You ain't got to be humble.
Basically, I'm the boss.
Dang, yo, that's dope. And at such a young age, you run this stuff. Okay. What's the most interesting thing about what you do?
So that the industry is always changing. Like it's always something new. So like here in Louisiana, one of the grows here, they're coming up with a new product. So they're testing out a THC tablet.
What?
A THC tablet. So you just take it, put it in your tongue. It dissolves, or you can take it with some water, and it's like a pill, and it gets you high.
What is THC for those people who don't know, like me?
So THC, or Delta 9 THC, is the cannabinoid in the marijuana plant that causes a psychoactive feeling you get when you indulge in marijuana.
Okay. Wow.
It's different. You might see Delta 8 THC flower and all this other stuff. Personally, I would stay away from it because in the marijuana plant, you find very, 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 very few amounts of Delta 8, which means that they're creating the stuff in the lab. So it's almost synthetic. And so you're ingesting something that's like kind of lab made, that's not natural. Because like marijuana comes from the earth. God put it here, therefore it should be legal. But in the marijuana plant, it is Delta 9 that you will find a lot of amounts of, and not Delta 8.
Did y'all hear this? Now I hope y'all listening, y'all. This is important. This is important stuff. Delta 9. All
Yes.
Right. Good to know. A pill. So like, are you involved in the process of the creation of this? Like how did you like play a hand in the creation of this thing?
So they have somebody that's working. So the grow themselves, they have somebody that's working with them to create this. So what we do is we make sure that if their target is a 10 milligram tablet, we're making sure that the tablet is actually 10 milligrams, or it falls within that percentage of a plus or minus. So overall, my job is to make sure that the products that you consume is safe. So we look for potency, terpenes, heavy metals, pesticides, residual solvents, microbials, which consist of yeast and mold, salmonella, E. coli.
God darn! So y'all doing in the y'all are doing in the cannabis industry what we wish the FDA would do with food, basically.
I mean, in a way, the FDA does do that with with the products, but essentially, yes. So I feel like whenever they do declassify Delta 9 and they start to make it federally, like, so once they decriminalize it, marijuana will be legal.
Mm-hmm.
But if the FDA wants to oversee it, then they will take over marijuana regulations.
Okay. You kind of answered one of the questions I had next, which is, how does your work impact the cannabis industry as a whole? So obviously y'all test products to, as you said, to make sure there's nothing weird or there's no outliers going on with it. What are some of the other impacts that y'all have?
We're the quality control, quality assurance officers of the industry. The difference is, street weed. Street weed isn't tested. So, you could be ingesting pesticides or what.
Yeah.
But we make sure that if there are any pesticides on it, it's at a safe level. That if there is any yeast and mold on the flower, that it's at a safe level. So, but salmonella, E. coli, if that's on your flower, this is an automatic failure.
Gotcha.
We make sure that that there aren't any heavy metals on your flower. So it's a lot. And granted, street weed is cheaper, but it's not safe.
Yeah.
It's not safe. Because you can be ingesting something, mess up your lungs, get sick. So yeah.
You just led into another question, and again, thank you for passing this knowledge along. That's something I never thought about. Like, typically when it comes to smoking, the only thing I really know about is cigars and cigarettes. And you just know about nicotine and what it can do to your lungs. But weed, people have always said, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. It comes from the earth. There's no proof that it has long-term negative effects and it can enhance this, that, and the third. But here you are dispelling some of the misconceptions, because like you said, it's coming off the street. You don't know where the person grew it. You don't know how they grew it. You don't know what's on it or what's in it. You're just trusting that this person is giving you something that's not going to harm you, when indeed they could be. And it might not be something that hurts you immediately, but it could have a long-term effect. So Do you have any other misconceptions that you've heard of that you want to kind of dispel when it comes to cannabis?
It's not a drug. Uh,
Oh.
it, it's medicine. It's an herbal medicine. People use it for different reasons. Glaucoma, anxiety, uh, cancer patients. A lot of times they can't eat, so they'll eat an edible,
Hmm.
and it gives them an appetite to eat. A friend of mine, his mom had cancer, and they would give her, marijuana to ingest that she could eat. Because when you're going through chemo and all that other stuff, you don't have an appetite, but you still need to eat. Um, it comes in different forms. You have the flower form where you can smoke it. It comes in the oil where you can vape it or dab on it. Then you have the edibles. But each of them gives you a different high.
Huh.
To me, so for me, and it affects everybody different.
Mm-hmm.
Flower gives me a head high. Like it's just in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm ingesting the edible, I will feel that throughout my body.
Same.
Of course, edibles take longer to affect you because at least 30 minutes, it depends on your metabolism, body weight, all that. But flower is like almost instantly after you smoke it. Personally, my favorite is vape, the oil that comes in the vape pen because I
Mm-hmm.
can carry it. I can take it anywhere.
Yep.
I can fly with it, and it doesn't smell like marijuana.
Nope.
Though they have some that do smell like marijuana, but I buy the ones that don't. And I take it everywhere when I'm flying back and forth, at work. I take it with me. So
Wow. So okay, now that's something I have a question about. I gotta be careful with my questions here. How do you know? I mean, outside of you being a professional, how would someone like me, like, let's say I wanted to get some oil, like, how do I know what's safe or what not, or what's not safe? Because I mean, I know that there's probably an industry standard, but I think oil, I don't know how old oil is, but for me, it's relatively new, not brand new, but it's something that's popped up in recent years. And I don't even know how it's made or nothing like that. And then, there's what's the word? There are, I guess, thoughts and misconceptions about vaping as well. So are some of those same concerns valid when it comes to vaping, or what's the difference between, I guess, the flower and the vape?
so the oil is extracted from the flower.
Okay.
So it's different ways you can extract it. You can even do it at your house. Um, just have
Huh.
like open ventilation. But honestly, you could take flour, add alcohol to it,
Mm-hmm.
like Everclear,
Mm-hmm.
and let it soak in it, and then you have to evaporate the alcohol, and you're left with concentrate.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can actually, but I mean, you'll need a lot of flour. It's like an eighth of flour or 3.5 grams. It's not going to give you a lot of oil, but you can actually extract oil at home. But everything comes from the flower plant. So like you have your flower plant, you can once it goes through the harvest process, you can take it and smoke it. Or like I said, you can take it and you can extract it into concentrate. Once you have that concentrate, you can use that same concentrate and make edibles with it.
Hmm.
So like everything starts at the flower.
Okay, that's good to know. So are the flavors dangerous? Because I know they come in like different flavors and stuff like that. Is that something you should be worried about? Because I'm assuming those aren't natural most of the time, probably.
Talking about the flavors of the edibles, or
The vape, the oils.
it's honestly just a name.
Okay.
It's just a name. So there's a brand that I do like that I buy that it's my go-to brand. They have different flavors such as punch, tangy, sherbet, dream,
Mm-hmm.
and Bellini. And so like the punch, it literally tastes like fruit punch.
Hmm.
They have dream. It has a strawberry flavor to it. The tangy is citrusy. They have one called Wowie, and it has a banana aftertaste. So that one is not my favorite because I'm not a big fan of bananas, but it's very flavorful.
Wow. I'm gonna have to get that name from you after the show, just for research purposes, y'all. And also, this conversation is for educational purposes. We are not telling y'all to go out here and to do anything. Do not go lose your job. Do not go get arrested. And if you are thinking about dabbling or doing anything, please check your state and local laws. Thank you very much. Do not listen to your homeboy that says it's legal now. No. Do your own research. Understand where you live. Understand what it is that you can and cannot do, if anything at all. Please do that. So that's a disclaimer. Okay. Edibles. Edibles. When did you first started, like, I guess, what's your experience with edibles?
So everybody that has did an edible has an edible story. Personally, I have a few. More recently, I made an infused strawberry pound cake.
Wow.
My smart self decided to eat a slice of cake on my lunch break to test my product.
Oh no!
It's like, as I give it to people are going to ask, does it hit? And so, in order for me to let them know, I need to try it myself.
Yeah.
So my dumb self decided to eat a slice of cake.
Not a piece, a slice.
Not a slice on my lunch break. So I get an hour lunch break. I eat it. By that 30-minute mark, I feel it hit, and I'm like, okay, it works.
Yeah.
45 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is a good high. So when it hits that hour, I'm like, fuck. So I drive back to where I'm at. I only stay 2 minutes from my job. So I drive back to work, and I get into the parking lot, and I'm at the steering wheel, and I'm like, fuck. So I walk back. I go back inside, and as I'm going inside, it has hit me, and it's gotten worse. And so it's like my heart is beating fast. It's like I feel like I'm moving in slow motion because whatever. So I'm like, I told my staff that, listen, I'm not feeling well. I'm going back home. I didn't want to drive.
Yeah.
So I walked home.
Wait, you lived 2 minutes from there, and you were so high that you were scared to drive.
Yeah. So I walked home. One of my workers was on her lunch break, and the next day she was like, "Were you like?" She said, "It looks like I was walking down a hill. I was walking leaning to the left." So I get home and I just go lay down.
I'll be down.
Yeah. So I decided, so I want to know how strong was the cake. So I took a slice to work the next day and I tested it, and come to find out, I ate 80 milligrams of THC.
What is a normal amount, I guess?
So it depends. It depends on your tolerance. My tolerance is 5.
Your tolerance is 5 and you had 80.
I had 80.
So you was high for like 3 days.
No, I mean it wore off because that same night I ended up throwing up.
Oh dang!
It was to the point that I knew I had to throw up, but I didn't make it. I didn't make it to the toilet. I just put my head over the bed and yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
I mean, I cleaned it up the next morning, but that's how bad I was, to the point like it was my Founders Day.
Oh.
I'll be down. I'll be down.
So like it was I had made the cake to take to our celebration. I didn't make it out.
Phone blowing up. Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah, that I learned. Let me say, how can I say this without? So, a friend of mine had got, some, what did he get? He got some cookies from somebody. And he was telling me how, the guy was like, hey, because the cookies were small. If y'all think like Famous Amos chocolate chip cookies, the small ones about the size of a silver dollar, if you know what that is. Not very big. The guy was like, yo, you only need to eat like a fourth, maybe a half of one of those at the most. But the problem is, my homeboy was like, the cookies were really good. And he was like, bro, like, this is nothing. Like, this small, it's not even a full bite. So my homeboy, he ended up eating a whole cookie. The problem is, he was doing this to help him go to sleep. So he did this maybe 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And then, you know, he was talking to the guy, got it from. The guy was like, yo, I know you didn't do that. He was like, how long ago did you take it? He was like, 10, 20 minutes, you know. He said, I ain't even feeling it. He said, dog, this is an edible. Edibles don't kick in like when you smoking it. He said, it's going to hit you.
Right.
And he said, oh, you going to be high when you wake up. But he was like, yo, I got to go to work. He was like, I'm just telling you. So when you wake up, you going to be high. And my homie said he made it through the day. But he said maybe the first couple hours of his day, he was really feeling it, but it started to wear off. But he said it scared him so bad because he didn't want anyone at work to know that he was high. But, you know, now he listens. He listens now, and he knows that, hey, you can't just, that's the tricky thing with edibles. Like, it's an edible. It's food.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It's fun. Yeah. It
Yeah.
has to take time to get into your system. It's minimum 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't care how big you are, how small you are. Minimum 30 minutes.
And you can't eat it like you know, you can't eat it like, oh, I'm sitting down and eat, you know, I'm gonna eat 2 or 3 cupcakes. No, like, here's your one, here's your dosage. That's it. You can't keep coming back like this is a buffet. You gotta like chill. Even though the food is actually good, you're gonna compound the effect. So yeah. Memories, man, memories. I gotta call him and check on him. So what do you think about? So I guess I can say this. Cannabis is now, I guess, commercialized. I think it's in enough places to where it's kind of commercialized, and that industry obviously is growing. So how can I put this? What do you think about the future of just commercialized cannabis? Do you think it's something, I don't know. I guess it's a good thing. I would say it's a good thing because, like you said, it's medicine, right? And it can help a lot of people. But, you know, how do you feel about it overall as a whole?
I think so. Once it does get decriminalized, it's going to be up to the states to regulate it.
Yeah.
I do not think the federal government is going to regulate it. They would rather leave it to the states. So it depends on that state. But as far as it being commercialized, you'll probably see a lot more people trying to get into the industry, and it'll be a lot of bad product out there.
I agree.
A lot of bad product. Because like what I've learned being in the industry within 2 states is that the smaller grows has the better weed. Because they're able to put more attention to their strains versus the big grows that produce a lot of weed but isn't as good. I'm not gonna say it's trash.
Yeah.
But it's not as good. So once if it does get to that point, you'll see a lot of mom and pops trying to get into the industry because they think it's a moneymaker, but they're putting out bad product. So yeah.
So again,
it's not as, it's expensive to get into the industry.
I've heard
it's expensive, and they're still not wanting us to get into that industry.
Of course not.
Because one, you got to have the money, and then like some places, you got to have the money fluid. You can't have it in assets or stocks or whatever. You need to have that money fluid. And I think it was like back in 2018 when I was talking to a guy in Nevada. He was saying that his monthly electricity bill was $30,000.
Woo! For the lights and
that's just for the lights, not including payroll. Not including payroll, and payroll is usually your highest expense, but his monthly electric bill was $30,000.
He'd have had to get some solar panels. 30,000 just to keep the lights on. So he must have had a lot of product.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice size grow, but yeah. So it's if you're not, what 30 times 12 is 3 times 12 is 36. So that's 360,000 alone on electricity.
And you ain't paid nobody yet. You ain't made a penny, but you can look forward to that. Oof.
But you got to pay. You got to pay your staff.
Yep.
You got to pay for everything else you need. You got to pay, rent for your building.
Yeah.
And then you got lab testing also, because you can't sell the weed until it's tested. So you got to pay the labs also. So it's not a, yeah.
So okay.
It's not cheap to get into.
Yeah, it ain't. And don't you have to have like special licenses or permits or something like that?
Yep. It all depends on the state or where you're at.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this industry moving forward. That you brought up something that I didn't think about. I'm glad that it has to be tested because that's another thing, man. It's just like so many people are just used to probably buying it off the street, and now you have an industry that's going to kind of regulate. Hey, this is going to be of a, I guess, quote unquote, certain safety standard, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some bad product out there for sure. So y'all be careful out there wherever you copping at. If you have some recommendations, put them in the comments for our people out there who like to smoke or do whatever it is they do. Put that stuff in the comments of this. Yeah. All right, I only got a couple more questions for you, man. So you said you're working on a special project with food.
Yes. So I am working on doing a 3-course infused dinner, and I want to take it on the road.
Oh,
Certain place, I think they do it in. I think I've seen it in New York that they offer infused dinners. So I'm working on that here, and so I'm putting the menu together, and over the course of the meal, I'm trying to give out anywhere between 30 to 50 milligrams of THC. So,
wait a
I'm working
minute.
on.
They're gonna need to Uber home, right?
I mean,
After the appetizer kicks in.
you got to. I mean, of course, you're consuming marijuana.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you? If it's a couple,
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I would prefer people to Uber, but they will sign waivers saying that releases me of all liability.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting yourself into, so.
Did they? Man, and whoa, that's crazy. I don't think I've ever had like every edible I've ever had has been like a sweet. I haven't had actually any savory food that's been infused. That's very interesting, man. So what
Yeah.
made you want to get into the infusion side of things?
I like to cook.
Okay.
And so I'm just combining what I like to do and my job, and making money out of it. So
Oh, I'm gonna have to talk to you about Pass the Peas app. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you now. I'm gonna put you on the email with my boy Carl Van of Pass the Peas app. We'll talk. It's a recipe app. You can put video steps to each step of your recipe. You can create collaborative cookbooks, and it's about family and preserving a legacy. You just said you love to cook, so y'all definitely need to have. Y'all can have quite a few conversations, actually. I'll leave that there, but that's good to know, man. What do you What's your go-to signature dish that you cook, man?
Well, I'm from South Carolina, so that's South. But yeah, I love soul food.
Yep.
But other than soul food, Italian.
Ah, I love Italian. Italian hits.
Yeah, I love a good pasta dish. So.
Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. All right, so dang, you kind of answered this question with the slice of cake in your lunch break. Have you had any other strange or weird or interesting occurrences at your job?
Not really. It's just me and edibles. I tend to stay away from edibles. I don't. Yeah.
So,
I don't. I don't like, so because edibles is like a body high.
Yeah.
I don't like the feelings I get from edibles.
Even
it's like I would have to, if I do 5 milligrams, I would have to take like Tylenol or something to ward off the high hangover that I get after it's wore off. Only because I do not like that feeling.
Huh. Interesting. Never heard of a high hangover.
Yeah.
That is very, very interesting. That's funny. I'm still thinking about you leaning after
you know how you feel like you're doing something, but you're telling your brain to not do it, but you're doing it anyway. That's what it was. Like I felt like I was walking to the left, but I was telling my brain to stand up. So like I'm walking and I know I'm leaning, but I'm like stand up, stand up, stand up, but I wasn't doing it.
Oh man! All right, this is my last question. What would you say? You've been in the industry a while. What are some of the most important things that you've learned?
So what I learned is that I was wrong to look at marijuana as I did before I got into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, do your research. And I did a lot of it when I got into the industry. And so that's why I'm a cannabis advocate. I have seen I don't want to say heals, but I have seen the healing properties of the plant, how it helps people with back pain and things like that, because, you can get into a lotion or whatnot. I've given it to my family and friends, and they've said it helped. So it was an eye opener for me, and I will talk to anybody that thinks that it's a drug and it should stay illegal, that it's not. And then God put it here, therefore it's not illegal.
I love it, man. Hey, Francis, that's all the questions I got. You got anything else or any knowledge you want to pass down or just share with the audience before I let you go?
No, just, if you're consuming, be safe. I always recommend dispensary weed over street weed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at least that's regulated, right? Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate it, y'all. And that's another episode of From My Experience podcast. We're gonna get up out of here. Thank y'all for. Do you want them to follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me at BlueStradamus07 on Instagram. That's where I post all my products and things. So, if you want to buy something, reach out to me. I ship. So
that link will definitely be in the description. This is going to be a popular episode. So, y'all, hey, again, consume responsibly, indulge responsibly, do your homework, do your research. Don't do it on your lunch break. Ask questions. Ask questions. If you don't know, man, ask questions. Don't be out here trying to look cool and tough and impressive and stuff and get yourself jacked up out here. If you don't know, ask questions. And until next time, take care of yourselves physically, mentally, and financially, and we'll catch y'all. Peace.